all your favorite same time? We wouldn't either. Would you wear all your favorite hats at the same time? Well, we wouldn't either. That is why we suggest you use only what you need. Switch off electrical appliances and lights in unused rooms. Remember, use only what you need and save power today. Switch and save. ZESCO, powering the nation.
Apple Max. Take it to the max.
Want to just get out of town with your friends and family? Are you having a corporate getaway and have no adequate transport? Then this here is what you need to listen to. A brand new 35-seater Yutong luxury bus is now up for hire at an affordable and negotiable rate. It comes fully equipped with aircon, TV for your relaxation, music soothing your trip, and DVD players to give you variety. Book now by calling 0955 0966 or 977 844 141.
What makes the new Yo-Yo Chipsy so unique? 100% natural ingredients. Nothing artificial. Just a pure experience of freshness. Chipsy potato chips. We know you'll love them.
Hey girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you for just a minute. Where you live and what you like to do?
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
Okay, I'm just trying to get with someone real cause you look so free. So let's chill, have a drink with a guy like me.
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
A quality product from Californian Beverages.
Pure Jungle.
Today marks exactly 30 days before the country goes to the presidential by-election slated for the 20th of January 2015. A lovely warm welcome to the main news on Prime Television. To present it, my name is Kalan Muchima. First, a look at the headlines. Nevas Mumba is not MMD presidential candidate, charges Muhabi Lungu and his team. Cosmo Mumba withdraws from presidential race after failing to file his nomination. ZESCO advises public to use trained electricians when connecting power. In foreign news, United Nations says South Sudan rebels committed atrocities. Join me for the news in detail. warm welcome and now the main news in detail. Former Livestock and Fisheries Minister in the MMD government, Bradford Majila, has accused the ruling PF of destroying the agriculture sector. Speaking in an exclusive interview with the Prime TV, Mr. Majila said under the PF, the agriculture sector has suffered a lot of shocks due to lack of a proper planning by government. He says the PF have reversed all the gains recorded by the MMD in the sector. He attributed this to policy shifts and continuous changing of key personnel at the ministry. He has since advised any government which will be declared winner after the 20th January presidential by-election to ensure that it aims to put things right in that sector.
I think that the Patriotic Front government could have done better than it has performed in the agriculture sector. They, very soon after coming into office, reversed what had been decided by Parliament, which was to unbundle the Ministry of Agriculture and establish a separate standalone ministry, that being the Ministry for Livestock and Fisheries Development. The background to the establishment of that ministry at that time was that those particular sectors had been neglected over a period of time, and it was recognized that there was a lot of potential to still grow those sectors being fisheries and being livestock. The government of Zambia has signed up to the Comprehensive African Agricultural Development Program called CADEM. Under that commitment, the government is supposed to allocate 10% of the national budget specifically to the agricultural sector. This hasn't happened and it has negatively impacted the growth of this sector.
Embattled MMD National Secretary Muhawi Lungu has announced that MMD President Nevas Mumba is not MMD presidential candidate. Mr. Lungu says the ruling by the Supreme Court that declared Dr. Mumba as MMD president does not mean he is the presidential candidate. He says NEC members will convene a meeting on Tuesday to decide on who will be MMD presidential candidate. Mr. Lungu adds that he is still MMD National Secretary and Chembe Nyangu still remains Deputy Secretary of the party. He was speaking at a media briefing in Lusaka. He indicates that Dr. Mumba has no powers to fire the two, adding that he has failed to run MMD.
The National Executive Committee will not accept that Dr. Mumba can select himself as a candidate. He was not the choice that they made, and even though the decision of the Supreme Court was to nullify the decision of the NEC, this does not stop the NEC from reconvening another meeting so that they can decide which candidate to support. The NEC will be convened so that we can decide which candidate to support of those that have filed. I doubt that it will be by any margin Dr. Mumba, because he has filed on the MMD ticket fraudulently. It was not the decision of the Supreme Court. They only reinstated him as president of the party and not presidential candidate for the MMD. The president of our party has no authority, no power, no constitutional authority whatsoever to expel the national secretary, to expel the deputy national secretary, nor to revoke any of the members that were nominated to the NEC.
Meanwhile, some MMD members have declared Lusaka as a no-go area for Dr. Mumba and his team. The members have vowed that they will not allow Dr. Mumba to campaign under the ticket of MMD. They have asked Dr. Mumba to go back to the church and continue with his pastoral work than getting into politics. The members said Dr. Mumba has destroyed the MMD, adding that he has no leadership skills because he also failed to run his own church. The MMD members were speaking in Osaka.
Our women in all the provinces that Mr. Mumba will not rally behind Dr. Mumba because he doesn't respect us. He has not consulted us. Me as your national chairperson, as the provincial chairpersons who attended the NEC meeting that decided to take on Arabi, he has not consulted us.
What Dr. Mumba has done is nothing to do with godly values, Because the truth is that he knows that we rejected him because the members of parliament voted actually. 20 voted for Arabi, 2 voted for him, and 2 abstained. Members of the National Executive Committee, the entire National Executive Committee, rejected him.
And Evans Mumba has never done anything to promote MMD. Yes. Since he came in, we have lost a lot of by-elections. He only came to reap from the resources that our members of parliament were putting in. He never contributed anything. So let him go and exercise his leadership in the church. Let him go back to the church.
MMD President Nevas Mumba has pleaded with Barrick Gold Canadian owners of the $8 billion US investment Lumwana copper mine in northwestern province to halt their operations in Zambia as indicated. Dr. Mumba states that putting the mine under care and maintenance is likely to result in several people losing jobs. Dr. Mumba, who disclosed that he was the one who hushed the deal between the company and the Zambian government when he served as Zambian High Commissioner to Canada, is saddened with information that the company intends to ground its operations in Zambia. Barrick Gold has hinted that it intends to halt their operations in Zambia, citing non-profitable mining policies introduced by the PF government.
But I also want to deal with one little economic matter that is of great concern to us. There is breaking news that has come to us that the Barrick Gold is going to pull out of Zambia. A lot of you are aware that I was ambassador, I was High Commissioner of Zambia to Canada, and I was in the middle of this negotiation, which was an $8 billion investment in Zambia, which came at a time when Zambia needed investment, and it was the largest investment in the country, the largest investment in the whole continent of Africa in 10 years, and created many jobs for our people. I would like to appeal to Barrick Gold. I have met the owner of Barrick Gold himself, Mr. Monk, with whom I had several discussions as they were coming to Zambia. Now they're saying because of the PF economic policies, they cannot sustain their business here. It will be a very sad day if Barrick Gold leaves this country.
And Forum for Democracy and Development, FDD, has appealed to Barrick Gold to exercise patience before pulling out of the country. FDD President Edith Nawakwin says it is important that the mining firm waits for the outcome of the elections because the PF will not win, hence a new government will be ushered in. Ms. Nawakwin has accused the ruling Patriotic Front government of not caring about the well-being of the workers who will be left jobless once the company pulls out. She said this in a statement released to Prime TV News in Lusaka. The opposition leader also noted that if the PF government had embraced the spirit of dialogue, the situation wouldn't have arisen. She says her party, once voted into office, will have an open-door policy to investors. Heritage Party President Godfrey Mianda has successfully filed in his nomination papers ahead of the 20th presidential by-elections. He, however, took close to 4 hours for him to raise the required number of 200 supporters. And in addressing the supporters shortly after filing in his nomination, General Mianda thanked his supporters for the support. He, however, attributed the delay in meeting the number to rains. National Revolution Party President Cosmo Mumba has withdrawn from the presidential race for the January 20th, 2015 elections. Mr. Mumba, who was accompanied by his wife and a handful of supporters, told journalists at the Supreme Court that he had withdrawn from contesting next year's presidential election because he was still mourning late President Michael Sata, who was his mentor. Dr. Mumba said since he was not ready to stand in the 2015 elections, he will rally behind the PF presidential candidate Edgar Lungu and join the team in campaigning for him. And the Democratic Front, DF, has equally withdrawn from the race, citing undisclosed internal matters within the party. Party Secretary General Namakao Kayingu has since disclosed that her party will rally behind the UPND. You're watching the live broadcast of the main news on Prime Television. We go for our first break. Join me shortly for more news just after that.
Would you wear all your favorite hats at the same time? Well, we wouldn't either. That is why we suggest you use only what you need. Switch off all electrical appliances and lights in unused rooms. Remember, use only what you need and save power today. Switch and save. Zesco, powering the nation.
What's your name? Let me talk to you for just a minute. Where you live and what you like to do?
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
Okay, I'm just trying to get with someone real cause you look so free. So let's chill, have a drink with a guy like me.
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
A quality product from Californian Beverages.
Potato sticks, freaky fries. Get that awesome crunch.
Thank you so much for staying with us. And now for the rest of the news. Zesco Limited has advised the residents of a Chawama compound to use well and trained electricians when connecting electricity to their houses. Zesco Public Relations Manager Henry Kapata says Chawama has 7 transformers, of which 11,000 people are connected to the transformers. He says that during rainy season, there is always a challenge with power provision, and Zesco has planned load shedding to contain the usage of power, adding that the overload of houses is what is causing unnecessary power blackouts. Mr. Kapata says Zesco has been working on upgrading the transformers in areas which include Kawata, Woodlands, Chalala, and other surrounding areas. He says Zesco plans to increase capacity from 105 megawatts to 165 megawatts to be able to stand the demand.
These concerns are coming from people that are not too sure who they engaged with regards to electrifying their homes. But with regards unnecessary power outages, it's all about overloading. Because, for example, 18 hours, everybody wants to listen to the news. Transformer is made for example, 3,000 people. And then 12,000 people at 18 hours will switch on. So our breakers will not allow that. They will trip, meaning they cannot stand the pressure of demand. So this is why we are on a massive program of putting up several replacements, upgrading some of these transformers from their current capacity to higher, much more capacity. We've done that with a Waterworks substation, where people in Chalala, Kamwala South, Kawata have been complaining about power outages. So what we have done is we have increased capacity with the transformer at Waterworks from 105 MVA to about 165 MVA. Meaning that we're able to stand the demand. that is ever increasing in some of these areas as a result of several structures that have been put in.
Meanwhile, Mr. Kapata has disclosed that ZESCO has connected an average number of 200 people to power throughout the country on a daily basis in 2014. He says ZESCO has procured 210 prepaid meters that will see more houses being connected with electricity, and that so far more than 2,000 are on the waiting list. Mr. Kapata was speaking to Prime TV News in an interview.
Daily basis, we are connecting an average of 200 people throughout this country. 200 people are getting connected every day. 20,000 backlog, meaning 20,000 are on the waiting list. Just recently we procured over 230 prepaid meters. So you can see that the demand is so much high. We are in a hurry to make a total replacement of some of these transformers, upgrading some of these substations so that we meet the demand that is really pushing us forward. And so the most unfortunate part of it is that from January to date, as it stands now, we've had a total of 32 cases of electrocutions as a result of people attempting to steal electricity or illegal connections.
The National Alliance for Citizens Participation has given the PF government up to 31st December 2014 to clear all the farmers who have not been paid their money or risk massive protests. NACP spokesperson Senzo Mkananzi says it is sad that the government has failed to pay farmers their money up to now, despite promising that they would do so on time. Mr. Mkananzi says the organization will mobilize the farmers countrywide to camp at the Ministry of Finance in a bid for government to pay them their money. He said under the PF government, Zambians have been subjected to haphazard and visionless way of running government without prioritizing and consequently affecting key sectors of the economy. Mr. Mkonazi said this in an interview with the Prime TV News in Lusaka.
On the government to stop this influx or to scandalize of telling farmers that they have no money to pay them. The government has been able to execute certain projects haphazardly, visionless and clueless, and as a result we are seeing all this coming forth. And we have been able to see the government executing certain programs within the shortest possible time that we have planned for things like by-elections, the president, and all that. They were able to raise money to pay them. Why can't they do the same for the minister, for the people, for the poor farmers who are just struggling to get that money back? And as National Alliance for Citizen Participation, we are calling upon government to pay the farmers their dues latest 31st December 2014. Failure to which we are already in contact with farmers. We shall arrange their transportation and they shall be able to come. All the unpaid farmers, they shall come to Lusaka and they shall come at the Ministry of Finance until they are paid in full.
We go for another break. Join me for foreign news and sports.
Apple Max. Take it to the max.
What makes the new Yo-Yo Chipsy so unique? 100% natural ingredients. Nothing artificial. Just a pure experience of freshness. Chipsy potato chips. We know you'll love them.
It's now time for international news and sports. South Sudan rebels killed, raped and kidnapped civilians during an attack in October, leaving at least 11 people dead, the UN says in a report. Fighters backing Riek Machar, former vice president, attacked the oil-rich town of Bentiu near the border with Sudan on October 29th and killed at least 11 civilians and committed other serious human rights abuses, according to the report received by the AFP news agency on Saturday. The UN mission in South Sudan also said it had received testimony from multiple sources alleging that opposition forces abducted and raped female residents of Bentiu after government troops withdrew from some parts of the city during the afternoon of 29th October 2014. According to several witnesses, 2 women and a 6-month-old baby were killed in their homes by opposition forces, said the report, compiled after an investigation by the UN mission's Human Rights Division. Egypt is to reopen the Rafah border crossing with Gaza for 2 days to allow those stranded in the country to enter the Palestinian territory, an official has said. Ali Al-Aziz, a police official, told the AFP news agency on Saturday that the border would be open on Sunday and Monday, the second time in the past 2 months. More than 3,500 Palestinians were stranded when Egypt closed the crossing after a suicide attack killed 30 soldiers in North Sinai Peninsula on October 24th, the United Nations said last month. The Rafah crossing is the only access point to the Gaza Strip not controlled by Israel. Many Palestinians who travel through Rafah are students heading to universities in Egypt or beyond, or patients in need of medical treatment not available in Gaza. For these and other international roundups, we join Al Jazeera.
Have opened in Tunisia's presidential runoff election for what's hoped will be the final step towards democracy in the country. It'll be the first time Tunisians will directly vote for president since the revolution 3 years ago. Iraqi security forces have been forced to retreat from the city of Beji. Fighters from the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant have taken control of the city after an intense battle with Iraqi forces. Egypt has opened the Rafah border crossing with the Gaza Strip for the second time in 2 months. It'll allow around 3,500 Palestinians stranded in Egypt to cross back into the Strip. Environmental stunt that's backfired. Greenpeace appears in court in Peru for trampling over a World Heritage Site. Plus, why gangs and not the government are providing free lunches for hungry children in New Zealand schools.
To end the news, we look at what's making headlines in sports. The Zambia Under-20 and Under-17 teams have been handed tough draws for next year's CAF Junior and Youth Championships. According to draws conducted at the CAF headquarters in Cairo Sunday morning, Chris Kaunda's Under-17 boys face the hosts Niger, heavyweights Nigeria and a tricky Guinea side in Group A games to be played in Niamey. Zambia will open her campaign against Guinea. Hector Chilombo's boys have perennial youth favourites Ghana, southern rivals South Africa and Mali, and start their campaign against Mali. The final tournament of the Under-20 Championships will be held from the 8th to the 22nd March 2015 in Senegal, while the Under-17 finals take place in Niger from 15th February to 1st March. And that sporting item brings us to the end of our news. Before we go, a recap of the headlines. Nevas Mumba is not the presidential candidate, charges Muhabi Lungu and his team. Cosmo Mumba withdraws from presidential race after failing to file his nomination. ZESCO advises public to use trained electricians when connecting power. In foreign news, United Nations say South Sudan rebels committed atrocities. That's the end of the news. Thank you so much for your time. But for these and other stories, you can still visit our website on www.ptv.com. May God bless you, and remember to vote wisely on the 20th. Bye-bye.
Hey girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you for just a minute. Where you live and what you like to do?
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
Okay, I'm just trying to get with someone real cause you look so free. So let's chill, have a drink with a guy like me.
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
A quality product from Californian Beverages.
Potato sticks, freaky fries. Get that awesome crunch.
Would you wear all your favorite hats at the same time? Well, we wouldn't either. That is why we suggest you use only what you need. Switch off all electrical appliances and lights in unused rooms. Remember, use only what you need and save power today. Switch and save. ZESCO, powering the nation.